glad you guys are joining us. I'm Tim Patton and with Stephanie Richardson today, and we are talking on the topic of leading with purpose. This is so important in today's age with business. It comes up every day as we speak with our clients and our fellow business owners. And we have a special guest here today, Mr. Mike Edmonds. He is a veteran in the payroll and HR industry. He has and co-owns a business called Exodus HR Group, which is located in Nashville. And we're coming from the amazing studio here in Nashville of Hit Lab Studio. So if you guys are interested in making podcasts, producing podcasts, and getting the word out about what you do and how great it is, then I advise you to reach out to these guys. They do a great job for what we do. Stephanie, do you want to go ahead and kick us off this morning, and let's get into leading with purpose and how important it is?
Sure. Well, we know it's really critical to know where your team is going and also have the support to get there. And Kevin Rose said, a team aligned behind a vision will move mountains. And I wanted to just start off by asking you, Tim, what's your definition of leading with purpose?
Well, it is somewhat self-explanatory, but I think it's important to define it. You know, leading with purpose to me is something I've researched over the years. I've done a few talks on it, and I found that, the definitions are sometimes all over the place, but it really comes down and boils down to finding the why and what you do. Simon Sinek said that well in one of his books, one of my favorite authors, and he talked about how important it was to find the why and really dial it into why you do what you do in business. As I've gone through things and worked with people over the years, I think that defining that is critical. It really gives a laser focus on the purpose of the organization. I think that's critical in personal life and in business life, is to find the purpose in what you do. I pray for that every day, to find my purpose and how I can deliver it and help others. So the why really comes down, in my opinion, to how we can help others, how we can solve their problems and present a solution that's going to work for them.
Love that. And the visual comes to me of a team that's rowing, and what happens is if you have one person rowing to the right and one person rowing to the left and one rowing forward and one rowing backward, it really doesn't matter how talented each of those individuals are. They're not going to win the race because they're not working together as a team. And one of the mistakes that I see sometimes leaders make is they have an awareness of goals, but they don't have alignment of goals. And what I mean by that is awareness is where the leaders define the goals and they come to the team and they say, here are our goals that we're tracking. But the team members don't have any kind of participation in developing and setting those goals. And so you don't get the kind of alignment that you want from a team when you come to people and define them for them. And I want to focus on Mike for a minute because I've seen this play out in such a positive way in his organization. They've done such an incredible job at Exodus HR of really getting alignment with all of their employees going in the same direction and everyone knowing what their purpose is. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about how you've done that, Mike.
Oh, well, thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Tim, for letting me be here with you guys today. First of all, as far as setting those priorities and getting going, it really starts with your leadership team. Mm-hmm. And that leadership team buy-in and basically then really defining what your priorities are, where you want your organization to go, and then how are you going to get there. And so basically the way we started it, and a lot of it depended on participation with you, but we started off by defining those priorities, and it was a year-long process that we went into that was educating our team. And we did that by monthly reminders, constant reinforcement of training, and emphasizing the 7 core values that we laid out for our team. That was the first thing we did. Second, we described how that meeting those core values, meeting the priorities and the goals of the organization and where we were going, how it would then impact each individual employee personally, which then it really put it into getting into the point of aligning themselves, as you mentioned, with the goals of the organization. They now had a personal stake in it, and they could see what the results would be. The third thing we did ask after we laid that out for our employees was for them to set their own personal, professional, and financial goals. And those PPF goals were then allowed us to verify if they were aligning with the direction of the organization. Second of all, if they could see the vision and feel that they were participating in that. And then the last part of that would be that hopefully that they would see success in each one of those, in their personal life, their professional life, and their financial life. The other thing that became very important to that was the constant reminder, which Stephanie, as you know, you participated in. We picked a core value every month, and Stephanie provided specific training on that core value. And then every week we reinforced that in our company-wide meeting, down to the point of tell us where you saw a team member participate within those core values, and how did it impact that team member, how did it impact you, and what impact did it make on the organization. And we believe wholeheartedly if our team follows that and they align with our values and they deliver on those core values, we make a significant impact to our clients, which then turns around and helps us meet those goals and priorities of growth.
Absolutely. I love how you guys reinforced that core value and actually asked for examples and played that out throughout the month. It wasn't just, oh, here's a training,
right,
and then you never talk about it again, but you continued to reinforce it. And that's what makes people live out the value, is being reminded on a weekly basis. And I know also you hold team members accountable in one-on-one meetings. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, our leadership team actually, if you're a new team member of Exodus HR Group, you're going to meet with your supervisor / executive team leader every week for 30 minutes. And what that allows us to do is begin to really lay out the core values and how we want to see those happen. And those core values include impact, transparency, excellence, teamwork, discipline. There's a lot of things that are very important, but if you walk through all of them, then it is literally an arrow pointing to the right direction. So those team leaders are meeting with their staff and verifying based off of, did you experience excellence in all the payrolls you processed this week? How was your interaction with the client? Were you able to impact that employee that was upset about their benefits? How did you handle that? This is how we do that. We want to take care of their needs. We also, alignment cannot be overstressed, because if your team doesn't align with you, then all the other things don't get accomplished. And so that then becomes very apparent in the way they interact with the clients, interact with their team members, and interact with the organization as a whole. But it's that constant feedback. And then once a quarter, after the first 90 days, we move into a quarterly one-on-one where we go through all the core values, all the items that were addressed that needed to improve, or the things that they were doing great, we applaud. But it's a constant reinforcement on behind the scenes from the public trainings and the things that we do on a weekly basis.
I want to stress something here is really important that you're hitting on, and a lot of people miss. As an owner, as a leader, whatever your position is, first of all, you're in a leadership role of some kind, in some capacity, whether you're in your own life, your family, your work, your church. There's so many areas that we are leaders and others are watching. So I think that's critical. but for you to identify the need to align the organization. And I've had the personal, and it's a pleasure to have you here, by the way, today, because, one of the things we love to do is highlight people that do things really, really well. And that's important. But as I witnessed you and have had the chance to work with you in the past in different areas, I've witnessed this transformation go on within your organization, as well as translating over into places that we've had the opportunity to work with teams together. That team seemed to work as an extension of our team at those times, and I thought that was very interesting. But the alignment piece of it was important to me because defining the purpose, identifying that there is a need for it, but really the consistency that you brought to it. Anyone can bring a great plan, or how many times have we gone to a conference and we've brought great things home and we put them on the shelf? Mm-hmm. I always say that, and I've been guilty of it myself. However, in your case, you took it and you really put it to play, and you continue to revisit it every single day, every single week, every single month, and you had that commitment to it. So, having the idea that you can do this is one thing, having a plan to do it is another, but the execution part of it and the consistency is extremely important, and that's something that's got to be done.
Absolutely. And one of the very interesting things about it is all of a sudden the group that you started with, not all of them will fit. And now that hurts, but it is reality. And then going forward, based off of guidance from you, Stephanie, and now our culture and our core values and our vision becomes a key part of interviewing during the interviewing process to find out, what does this core value mean to you? Where do you see yourself if this were, when we achieve our goals? How are you going to be part of that? And so from the very beginning of the interview process, we're already putting those things that are priorities to us up front, important, before we make a decision on who we bring onto our team. So,
what I love about what you all have done is you've really just continued to have very open and honest communication with your employees throughout the process. And I think that's one of the key factors that has led to your success in this area and getting everyone aligned. And also just the plan and the implementation and the follow-up. What that has done is that's really just kept people from straying. And it's helped you identify who doesn't fit on the bus, right?
That is correct.
So that's good. Yeah. Always good. Even like you said, it hurts sometimes.
It does.
It's good to know that, because you can't move an organization if everyone is not aligned with the same purpose. That person's rowing to the right? Yeah. And maybe you figure that out through those discussions. So
absolutely. A couple of unique things. We do it on repeat. Tim and I attend the same church, and every Sunday morning they give their mission statement. Every Sunday morning. I could repeat their mission statement. Well, why don't we do that within the corporate environment? Because we're not just a transaction. We're out here affecting people's lives. So let's focus on our priorities and how we're going to make the most impact. I have to be candidly honest with you. We have two leaders on our team, Elise and Taylor, that have driven this point home to their staff, that they're as key to this success and key to this being moved forward as anybody. I mean, it's all about the team that's on board with you.
Yes. Tim, I want to ask you, what do you do and when you sense that maybe your team is not aligned? What action steps could you take, or how would you handle that?
I think that it kind of goes back to what Mike already alluded to is having a plan. You have to have a structure, a plan. Without direction, then, if you don't know in your own mind with your own business where you're headed and what your goals are, and it's very broad to say, set your goals. We all talk about that, but really, to me, it's the execution piece of it. It's executing your goals. It's having a consistent program and the transparency piece with your team is critical. I would refer to what you said about the mission statement. I mean, having, you don't have to have anything elaborate. You're just letting your team know how important it is to the organization and its success for you to be part of it, and that it's critical for them to buy into it. And Mike was right. There's a lot of times that we've looked at people as an organization has grown and they may not fit in. I had a friend several years back that he was part of an organization that the CEO, they'd seen tremendous growth, and it was incredible to watch. Great team of people. They had about 150 employees. And the CEO was very aware of this very thing that we're talking about right now. So he came into a meeting, talked about the growth that they had experienced, and asked them all to look around the room. And I thought this was very keen observation. He said, the people sitting next to you helped get us to where we are now, but those may not be the people that get us to the next level. And so as an owner, a leader, you do have to identify that, because they may be right for right now, but they may not be right for the future. And that goes for our skills as well. We need to grow. We have to continually grow and get better, or maybe we need to step aside and let others that do it better than us step into our shoes and run the organization. So that's a tough one to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim, when a team is aligned, how do you keep people from getting distracted? Because I know one of the things you had some thoughts about was business ADHD, and
Yes.
I'd love for you to share this.
I love to talk about that, and I think it's a funny point, but ADHD, the attention deficit disorder, is something real, but it's also real in business. I think too many owners and leaders get distracted by what others are doing. They're more concerned about someone else getting a little bit ahead of them, having a better product than them, having, some new shiny thing. And all the while, they're becoming distracted. And I can tell you what the team's thinking. They know what's going on. They know that they're not aligned. They know that the leader's not leading them down the path of success. So I think that's a critical area with the business ADHD, as I call it, because you have to recognize it first, and you have to do something about it. And, there's not a pill that'll fix it with your organization, but there's certainly measures that you can put into place. With those, I think it's identifying the issues, setting a plan forth, like I said, and just that consistency and following it. If you don't have a plan, or if you don't know how to create one, reach out to people that do. There's so many people that do a great job at observing. And that's one thing that we're great about in our organization, is taking a look at other businesses, because we've been exposed to such a broad number of industries. We're able to apply many things that we see win in organizations every day. We are able to cherry pick the best elements of what people do and bring them to the table and say, try this, do this, and carry this out. And that creates a winning formula for anyone in an organization to be able to be successful.
I know you have a lot of great past experience with business ventures, and I would love for you to share a little bit about some experiences you had when you were younger and just what you learned from those things. Making
mistakes. and Mike and I've talked about this, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about, there's not this great playbook out there that somebody could throw on your desk and say, you want to run a business, do it this way. And it just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. And so many of the things that we are successful at, we were not successful at before. We've taken so many black eyes, fallen on our face, but fortunately, we're cut out of that cloth that we get back up and we keep moving forward. And that forward momentum is what's carried us to where we're at right now in our careers. And it's also what's kind of hardened us to have those abilities to observe and those experiences to draw on. I have so many things that I could talk about. I mean, a few come to mind of the mistakes that I made. I had a business when I was younger, and it was becoming pretty successful, and I'd kind of stepped out of the way at the request of one of my lead people, and he came to me one day and asked to talk, and I thought he was going to walk away and quit. And he'd been with me for 2 or 3 years, and he was really one of the key people in the company, and I did not want to lose him. His comments were, "You run the organization, you manage the organization, that's your job." Yes, and I said, "Yes, it is." And he said, "My role is to manage the daily work, go to the job sites, hire the employees, fire the employees, and take care of all those out there things that are going on that you're not supposed to be doing." I said, "That's correct. And what's your point?" And he very quickly said, "Can you just let me do my job and you do yours?" And it hurt, because at that point, somebody else had to step in and identify that I was in their business. And at that point, I changed. Fortunately, I listened. I took that experience and grew from it. I was able to grow the business and eventually sell it due to the fact and the single fact that I stepped aside, focused on running the business, and things grew rapidly after that. But the point in that is you may be the worst enemy that you have. You can be your worst enemy in a business. Let people do their job. Create a great environment for them, let them do their job, and let them be very good at their job, and go out and let them do great things.
Well, I know that it really is a leader's job to look into the future and see a business not as it is right now, but as it can become, right? And to lead towards that vision that you have for your organization. Mike, just before we wrap up, any thoughts on how you can do that, how you can lead towards the future?
Well, that's kind of a tough. I think, first of all, there's a statement, and I can't think of the gentleman who said it, but the difference between management and leadership is managers do things right. Leaders do the right thing. So first of all, it starts off to lead people. You have to have definitely an ethical, moral compass that you're going into whatever comes in front of you, you are going to do the right thing. Second of all, you can tell somebody what to do, but it's more important to get them to want to go with you. And I think there's a lot of that is in how you deal with people. What is important to you? Is it the people, the job, the transaction, those sort of things? It really all boils down to if you're leading people or you're responsible to lead an organization that's made up of people, the people and the people at the clients, that's what's important to you. And you focus on that. And put your compassion and your efforts behind the people that's taking care of it. I've often wondered. I've looked at great leaders. I listen to all sorts of little tidbits on YouTube and things like that. And the one that I like the best is the one where it says what the tale of a true leader or a true person is not in the bank account. It's how many people show up to your funeral. And you're just going, that means I made an impact on their lives. And that's how we truly view, we're in the HR payroll space. Most people think that's a paycheck and rules and laws. In our organization, that's an opportunity to serve. We view ourselves much more than just a transaction. I have clients that I get the great opportunity to pray with them during tough times. I have the opportunity to be a friend. I have an opportunity to work through a problem for them. Our team is the same way. I always use the story that someone may be upset about their paycheck, but that may not be their problem. So let's make an impact today and make a difference in their life. And I think that's basically what leadership is. It's someone who focuses on something other than themselves.
I love your comment about just doing the right thing. No matter what we go through, And I know that Tim's going to have some thoughts about that in our next episode, as right now that's the primary focus and thought of everyone's mind, is how to recession-proof your business. Yeah. And I think one of the things we want to keep in mind as we have that discussion is, as a leader, no matter what you're going to go through, whether it's a recession or not a recession, you still have to make the right choices, and you have to make hard choices a lot of times. So any final thoughts, Tim, before we wrap up?
No, I want to thank Mike Edmonds for being here today. You can reach out to his organization directly, and I'm going to let you do some contact info, because I know people would love to hear more about what you do and how you do it. But, you know, having worked with Mike before, and I was talking to a group about this morning, was how critical it is for us to do business with people that we know and trust. People that we like. You know, I may not like everybody that I do business with, but I certainly love doing business with those that I do. So I know that what they do and how they do it is very much an extension of the clients, you know, and their operation. I've witnessed that. So I applaud that, and, you know, encourage people to improve your operation. You know, don't be stagnant. As we start talking about this next topic on the next episode of recession proofing, you know, how critical it is, and I preach this every day, for everybody to be in a good position when we go into this. You know, many look at this recession or the potential for recession as an opportunity. Most look at it as something really terrible, but there is opportunity, and a lot of money, a lot of success is made during those times. So I encourage people to learn about it, reach out to those that know more than you about it, and get some help in bettering your organization and bettering yourself and your skills. I mean, we all do something very similar, but quite different. We focus on people, we focus on the plans, and we focus on the organizations. And I think that's where we've learn to be friends and business, you know, associates, because we know that we can trust one another very well. So again, I want you to drop some numbers and names so that you will at least have a way for folks to reach out to you and make contact with you. So
okay, great. And thank you both for this opportunity. I have the privilege of working with both Tim and Stephanie. Stephanie has definitely made a difference in our organization with our team development and the opportunity. Tim was a transition team member and headed up an organization that was a client of ours, and they found success and streamlined, and it's just been a great relationship to see how what he does makes a difference in a company. Both of them I would highly recommend either one of them. But if you're looking for someone to take care of your team, from a payroll, HR, employee benefits, safety, we take care of everything that touches an employee, and that's Exodus HR Group. We're very hands-on, client-focused, and customized to meet your exact culture and your needs. You can reach us at www.exodushrgroup.com. Or just give my cell phone a call. That's 903-436-1392, and you will see us on all the social media platforms. I would love the opportunity to visit with you.
And the best thing I like about it, and I always loved, is when I call and I need something, I know the person on the other end. So that's a fantastic thing and a great feeling when you say, "Hey, I'm glad I got a hold of you. I need you to help me with this." So once again, thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Mike, this morning. And we look forward to talking about recession proofing in our next episode, and we hope you'll join us on that. Until then, coming to you from Hit Lab Studios here in Nashville, we'll say goodbye. Thank you.